rosters, we are getting ready to go into our game number 2. And this can be a pretty banger game, Trouble. We got LFL versus versus our German teams. I completely had a brain fart there. We got SK Prime versus BKR ROG. Yeah, how are we feeling about these two teams? Because I feel like it's two pretty stacked rosters overall.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like for BKR ROG, this is the second seed coming from the LFL. They only lost to the one and only KC in the finals, 0-3. However, the team is absolutely stacked. Chocolate has played over in the LEC. Pride Stalker has played over in the LCS. Now he's back into the ERLs. This team is stacked with a lot of experience, and you also have the two Koreans, Howling and Trigger. Now, of course, a little fun fact about Trigger, he got 3rd in 2022 in Korean Challengers, playing for T1 together with Photon. A lot of the LEC enthusiasts will know that Photon is playing in Vitality, so that was his teammate back then. So yeah, absolutely stacked roster, only lost to KC, who are also big favorites to win the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to, well, you won't see SK Prime's team, but you will see when we get to Champ Select. If you don't know their lineup, you're going to know their lineup as soon as we get into Champ Select. I mean, there's a lot of players in here who are just recognizable names, very, very recognizable names. I think, you know, you got the likes of Genax, you got the likes of obviously Febiven as well in the mid lane. You know, I feel like there's not a single player on that lineup who you probably wouldn't have heard of at some point. So, you know, a roster that has a lot of veterancy within them. Obviously made it to the semi-finals back in spring. A very, very solid team. So we're excited to see what these guys have got. And so far, expectations have been somewhat shattered here at this EMEA. I'm excited to see, you know, if we can keep that going. Maybe we'll see, because, you know, KC going 2nd right now over in Group C is a real upset, especially when there was an Italian team sitting at the top.
Yeah, and there's an Italian team in this group as well, and they just picked up the first victory very convincingly in the previous game. So this is going to be, well, what a lot of people would say, the battle for first. When you have two favorites in a group and when they face off against each other, you say that this is technically the battle for first, right? So SK Prime facing BKR ROG right here. SK Prime had an absolute breeze this time over in Prime League. They were first in regular season. They 3-0'd Unicorns of Love, who beat them back in spring. And I want to say a fun fact right here in the playoffs run. Every time they were ahead, at 15, they won the game. They've got a 100% win rate when ahead at 15. So BKR ROG have a lot to work on in these first 15 minutes to make sure that SK Prime do not get an inch off of them.
It's a terrifying statistic because there's not a lot of time to potentially lose the game. We'll see those. We have kind of shot through the Champ Select, or at least the bans. The Kalista, the Rumble, not unexpected on that one. The Ivern, the Maokai, the Zaya, the Talia, all getting banned away. Now going over to BKR ROG. What are they going to be looking to pick up as their first pick? Things like the Rel are up and available if they want to go for that kind of flexible pick. But they actually go a bit more flexibility again. Locking in Tristana, like we said in the last game, can go mid, can go bot lane. See where they're going to go to lock it. Over to SK Prime, though. There's quite a lot of things they can pick up here.
I honestly feel like taking the Tristana away from SK Prime is super huge because Kidui is an incredible Tristana player as well. And it's very dangerous, especially when the bot lane of SK Prime likes to play extremely aggressive. With engaged supports on Prime, having a Tristana right there can get really difficult. This is how you lose in the first 15 minutes as well. So they're going to be locking in the Kai'Sa. Now, usually when we say Kai'Sa lock-in, we say Jace alongside it. They work really well as a duo. AP poke, if you choose to go for that AP route onto the Kai'Sa, and AD poke as well coming out from the Jace. So we'll see whether they choose to go for something like this here or pick their L for themselves. Oh, okay.
Looking in the LeBlanc there for Febby.
It's a traditional Kai'Sa.
Yeah, it's traditional. I mean, it's still really strong, this status of LeBlanc. It's crazy because, like, it got nerfed into the ground, but it's still very, very playable. A lot of players still favoring it over on that front. Now, if this is the Tristana mid, it's definitely a rougher matchup. It's a lot better now that Static Shiv's an option, and looking from the things that we're seeing on the screen right now, I'm expecting this to be that Tristana mid for Chocolate here. But it's definitely a more manageable lane, especially when you have the fleet footwork for sustaining lanes. You don't get kind of just low poked out like you typically do. when you play as the full AP LeBlanc. Now going over to BKR Rogue though, looking towards what they're going to be picking up next. They can look towards their jungle, they can look towards their support role if they'd like. I have said it multiple times, the rel is up and available, which is a very pickable thing here, and it is flexible as well, so you don't really show your hands too much on that front. But they are just going to lock the Amumu in here for Pride Stalker.
I don't know if this is going to be Pride Stalker or going towards the bot side of the map, so it is a flex for the time being. Now, on the other hand side, again, you have things like the Rel, you have things such as the Sejuani, you do have LeBlanc in the mid lane, so you can pick more of a fighter in the jungle as well. Lurox is known to play things like the Wukong or the Viego potentially that can brawl and get that 2v2 ahead and rolling, because Kai'Sa, when you play more of a traditional Kai'Sa, you kind of want to scale towards the later stages of the game and do the Jackalope where you fly in and decimate the backline. Later on, Rakan, also a pretty good choice for Prime. One of his most played champions in general over the year, and provides a pretty good engage and disengage. Now, with things like Nautiluses and Rels still in the picture, I'm expecting to see the Metal Horse band here, but we have left completely open all the picks over in the top lane.
Yeah, top is going to be probably left unanswered here. We'll see though, BK Rogue, depending on what they want to be looking to ban away, are they going to pinch that jungle pool or that top lane pool? Looks like now just banning away the Poppy, which is technically flexible to both, so not really revealing too much, but a pretty solid ban on that front. The Rel, like you said, is going to get banned away here by SK Prime, and now looking towards BK Rogue as their final ban. Again, probably actually expecting another jungler here. When you got the Maokai, when you got the Poppy banned away, and they have this Mumu as a flexible pick, so they could just look to kind of play towards that angle and just trim that jungle pool as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like also Pride Stalker has been a big fan of the Amumu, so I would be very surprised if the Amumu goes towards the bot lane. You do have answers such as the Leona if you want to go towards that. You can play even something like a Milio that can cleanse people from the ultimate, from the Rakan, from potential chains coming in. Just give a little bit more of utility since you have 2 AD carries currently in the team for BK Rogue. On the other side for SK Prime, I'm looking for something else that can engage together with the Rakan. Again, Lurox, huge, Viego, Amumu and Joyer, it works here. LeBlanc plus Wukong, a very strong and potent 2 versus 2. But also Amumu together with Tristana, you lock down a target, you can 100% to zero them really quickly.
Yeah, really fast there. The Renekton's going to be the blind pick here for Howling. Something that can kind of just eat up a lot of the pressure in the top lane, providing Gen X doesn't lock in the Darius again. Now looking towards what is going to be their support, or realistically we expect to be the support here for the side of BK Rogue. Remember, it's still a little bit of flexibility on that Mumu, but I'm expecting to see an actual support here, and they may just look to play towards a little bit more of that engage, maybe towards that wombo combo here. You've got a really nice follow-up on top of that Amumu with the Alistar off the back of that. So BK Rogue locking in a real team fight heavy comp here, and SK Prime now needing to find their answer to that. Obviously, the Wukong is going to be their jungler, so expecting to see something in the top lane. Question is are they going to play something that can kind of just sit and chill in that top lane and not lose to Renekton, or something that can fire back? It is Genax, so
honestly, when I see LeBlanc being locked in, I want to see a kind of a 1-3-1 composition where you can also come all together and fight. Nar does that spectacularly. He can be a split push menace. You can play the 1-3-1, but also when he joins the team fights as Mega Gnar, he can be that extra engage or stun tool that you want. What I really like from the set of BK Rogue is the individuality in the champions, how they have a lot of agency to play split fights. You don't necessarily have to get into a choke point to play for that AoE damage. Tristana individually is very strong. Zeri can jump through walls. She can get away from any kind of terror that comes her way, the likes of Wukong, Kai'Sa, and LeBlanc, because usually a 1-3-1 composition wants to split apart either fights or the map. And of course, when you have LeBlanc, you want to be isolating these targets and killing them off or poking them away from a fight. So I feel like BK Rogue have a pretty good and stable composition to actually deal with these threats when it comes to team fights.
Absolutely indeed. I mean, just going into this game, I feel like both teams have pretty solid comps locked in and kind of answers to one another. So I think it's going to be early. I really want to be watching these junglers. I think that's the thing that's going to be the most exciting for us. We saw in the last game, you know, how much Rylek was able to set up for his team. If Lurox or Pride Stalker can do the same here, it could be a really explosive game. Is that Trigger? Don't think they're really under any real threat. Maybe Febby comes over and just gets a little bit of poke, but it's not even Electrocute LeBlanc. It is the Static Shiv. So it's going to be the Fleet Footwork LeBlanc.
It's the call of the game. This is when the game starts. When the cow rings the bell, you know that officially the game has started.
I saw one of those TikToks where, you know, it's obviously so staged, and it's the one where like 280 carries are fighting each other, and both the Rallisers are playing this skin, and they're just like sitting in the bushes, just bonking away on the cowbell.
I actually have a plushie of this skin right behind me, and he actually rings the bell.
Does he have a little bell?
Yeah, he has a little bell, and he actually rings it, yeah. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Of course, very standard level 1s right here. Pushing a little bit forward award right here from Chocolate towards the Wraiths, the Chickens, the Raptors, whatever you want to call them, for Lurox. It's good to keep an eye on where Lurox goes onto this Wukong, because it was one of the champions that he was very proficient on over in Spring. A little bit of a back and forth, of course, over in the bot lane. And we're expecting in general to see a lot of action coming from these junglers, right? Amumu, known for being able to pull that level 3 gank with a Bandage Toss. Wukong can play through the strengths of the LeBlanc onto that Tristana. You can lock in a chain onto the Tristana. Doesn't matter if she jumps away, you can actually follow through with a LeBlanc W, and then that's where the Wukong comes in as well. So we have to wait and see where the junglers choose to take the first step.
Yeah, for now, though, it just looks to be a full clear for both sides, both clearing upwards. So, may see some action towards this top side. Janax being forced back is actually just down a little bit. Nothing too much at this point. To Howling. Howling did hit level 2 first, so Janax had to pay his respect to him. But now that he is about to gnar out as well, he's going to hit a little bit of a potential for some scrap. And it actually looks like Lurox is a little bit behind in tempo to Pridestalker, who will spot him out on this ward. So they're going to have information of where Lurox is. And Pridestalker, he's in the dark. Nobody knows where he is. They can make educated guesses on where he is, but nothing solid, nothing concrete.
They know he has also been spotted as well, because Lurox saw the ward dying right there. This is why Prime also moved up in the river. You see the first reset coming in from Kadui. He's going to go back, grab the long swords from himself. Of course, on the other side, the call for Trigger wants to scale towards that late game, get that extra gold. Coming in with the item. Top lane, a little bit of a brawl. I mean, it's a squishy mininar. When a Renekton gets the jump on you, you are going to be losing that trade. Mid lane looks pretty even at this point. Tristan, of course, can push in LeBlanc. Ooh, 5 minutes here is going to pop the passive as well. So, Pridestalker on the top side of the map might be looking for just a cheeky bandage just to get Febiven out of the lane and push that through with Chocolate.
I mean, pre-static shift, this lane can be a little bit rough because you just get out-poked on the range. You jump into Chocolate and you can just jump away. It's a rougher matchup. The fleet footwork does make it a little bit more playable. Doesn't mean it entirely playable. As you can see, Febby definitely starting to struggle a little bit. Gets the chains off onto Chocolate and gets a nice little answer back actually there. Lovely played by him.
Lurks is going to get double scuttle crabbed right here. He has lost priority in the bot lane, of course. Chocolate had a fantastic trade in the mid lane into Febiven, which means that Febiven cannot leave lane. So Pridestalker ahead in the jungle right now. Double Scuttle Crab versus Lurox. Chocolate is just pushing mid lane freely, poking down towards this first few turret platings as well. And Febby, he has to leave lane and TP back on, which means that you're very susceptible to getting ganked. If you do go down without your teleport, you're going to miss out on a lot of experience and gold. They, Norm, looking at this cheeky little engage, that's shoving the wave to get the resets in for the side of the French team as well in the bot lane.
A nice little poke, but it looks like SK Prime quite happy to hold this wave here. Not really under too much threat. So we'll be able to kind of hold the wave where they want it as the next wave crashes in, and BKR Rogue not able to really achieve what they wanted down that bot side. Both mid laners going to teleport back to lane. Vamp Sector for Chocolate. The Noon Quiver on Febby. But for Chocolate, having that Vamp Scepter, like any trade that may have gone slightly bad is just going to get undone because he's going to be able to get so much free timers. With DC Vegor actually get himself a little bit of damage there onto Prime. Instantly forces the flash and cleanse out from Kedui. Really aggressive flash forward there from Vengurum and made that work just beautifully.
I'm not sure what the cleanse was for from Kedui. I think he was trying to target the Ignite coming out of Vaynorum. But that wasn't the case because the Ignite kept ticking. But that is double summoner spells burned for the German AD carry for SK Prime, which means that could be a primary target in the coming fights. Of course, Dragon being one of the very primary objectives that teams like to go for. Level 5 of Pride Stalker on his level 6 as the ghost is being popped right here. Trigger wants to get back to lane as soon as possible, and Pride Stalker looking for the fastest way to level 6. He's gonna be pretty close.
Goes plus the jump means he actually doesn't lose a single minion worth of experience there.
Pride Stalker did
a little bit of HP.
Pride Stalker is sneaking in the Dragon while Lurks in the top lane for a gank.
Yeah, they are going to try and get some damage onto Howling. Howling pops the ultimate.
He's
and
out.
Unfortunately, that's all they're going to be able to do. Lovely slice and dice there from Howling. Able to get away from it. And yeah, Pride Stalker sneaking away this Infernal Dragon just gives a little bit of stat boost to his team across the board. As Lurox finds Howling. Howling not going to let him just go and take the Herald for free. It's not even up, so I don't know why I think that. It's just going to get himself the berries, heal back up, and Febby, he is struggling in this mid lane. Chekalad just having so much control over that lane. It's only a 300 gold lead, but the pressure translates into so much more. This is resulted in, him being forced out into these dragons, into, basically Pride Stalker being able to play this how he wants.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're playing Wukong, oh my god, that was a trade initiated by Febiven right now and absolutely lost on that one. That's going to be a TP-less LeBlanc that's going to lose on a lot of experience and gold. This is a cannon wave as well that Lurks is going to have to soak up together with Prime right there. They're going to get Jekyll. It's just about going to miss on that knock-up, and yet another wave that's going to be shoved in. Venom has come into the mid lane for a little bit of support just to crushing that wave, and honestly, it's been going all BK Rogue's way. If you look over in the bot side, that is 400 gold in favor of Trigger right there. Hasn't even cashed in the call. Top lane is pretty dead even, like 200 gold over to Howling, who's taking pretty favorable trades when Genax is Mininar. Bot lane has done a fantastic job at taking these double summons from Kedui, and ever since then, Lurox has not necessarily been able to play his game. He doesn't have that engaging mid-jungle that he would hope so, because Febiven is constantly shoved underneath the tower, and he doesn't actually have any lane that he can play through. Of course, with the level 6 coming onto the Rakan, you've got level 7 onto Genex in the top lane as well, you might be looking for some cheeky engage, some cheeky setup, especially having level 6 on the Wukong as well, to try and get the ball rolling.
Febby losing those 2 waves mid. Definitely going to feel the sting a little bit closer towards that static shift. I believe it's 1,000 gold when you got the Kenshi Shard and the Noon Quiver, so I still need to get a little bit more as Genax just going to ult Howling into that wall. A little bit of damage off onto him. Isn't going to be able to land that wall up, unfortunately. And Howling, quite happy in this lane, being able to eat up a lot of that pressure. As Norum taking a little bit of damage hit from Prime, just auto-attacking him. Actually cancels the W. That's big. Gets the charm and the dash away to safety. Prime forced to ult there. Getting punished for his hubris.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been so
Stalker.
much pressure in general around mid lane, and Chekolad is generating most of that on his Tristana, taking trades constantly onto Febiven. It's really impossible. Oh, canceling Prime right there on his TP as well. It's kind of huge because that leaves Kai'Sa even longer on the map on her own, whilst Alistar can actually start going back, roaming first. Pride Stalker with yet another neutral objective generated by his team's leads onto the map. And honestly, I've seen back-to-back two very happy junglers. Rylek was having the time of his life, having 3 lanes of priority right here as well. Pride Stalker is having the best time. He knows that his job later on is going to be to find the biggest cluster of people and pin them down. And his team, if they're ahead in gold, they're going to be able to take care of this themselves.
It's interesting because Rylek enabled his team, which then allowed him to take objectives across the board. Pride Stalker is just sitting back chilling while his team are just absolutely stomping every lane. And then he's just taking 3 neutral objectives. It's a very different playstyle, but the result ultimately is pretty much the same thing. Tower plates crumbling, objectives falling, and a lovely lead here for BK Rogue. I mean, it's a 2,000 gold lead at the moment over to the side of BK Rogue. And Febby finally has that static shiv in hand, so he's going to be able to clear through the waves. Kedui also going static shiv, so it might actually just be that AP Kai'Sa coming in.
Either that or some sort of hybrid. You do have AD top and jungle. Oh,
no.
My god, Static Shiv or not. Static Shiv is pretty good at pushing in that wave, but it's not pretty good for trading early on with the Tristana. That doesn't even have necessarily any item completed, going towards, of course, that Kraken Slay, which is typically the first item you're going to be seeing onto the Tristana. But right here, I just wanted to say, when everything goes south on the map, all the weight falls on a jungler's back. Lurox has not necessarily had the freedom to do whatever he wants onto this Wukong. He's actually been deprived into his own jungle. He's been counter-jungled. Every attempt that he's had on the map has been shut down due to the fact that Tristana creates so much pressure to keep Talablanc on underneath the tower the entire time. 11 minutes in, mid lane tower is absolutely decimated. Full tower platings going towards Chocolate. 11 minutes in, 1.5k onto this Tristana over the LeBlanc. Static Shiv, as you very well mentioned as well, is going to be the first item. Possibly then again, going as a second. Kraken Slayer mirroring right here the push. Bot lane though.
That's like SK Prime. They're going to try and jump in. 3-man knock-up though from Noram. Absolutely huge. Price Stalker gets his first Q off. Tries to go in for the next one. Can he land it? He does. He may press that R button. He's actually already used it. Lurox losing a lot of HP. Featherthen coming in the area. It looks like BKR quite happy just to take that first blood for themselves. Pressure up on this wave as Febby does double dash over the wall. Gets himself stunned up, unfortunately. Does get a bit of damage off though onto Vengoro, who just about survives with the flash away to safety.
But Lurox is looking. He does have the ultimate available. He knows Trigger and Pride Stalker are around, but Febby cannot join. It would be a 2 versus 3. Now it's going to be a 2 versus 2, but it's 2 versus 1 in the top lane.
The rage bar's too far away, and there it is. Chocolate gets himself the kill, and just like that, the LFL representatives find themselves their opening. 2 quick kills, a bunch of plates, and what had been quite a steady and a controlled start from them has exploded. This gold lead has rocketed up 4,000 gold over to BK Rogue at 13 minutes.
Absolutely, and you'll see that the Dragon was taken away right there by SK Prime, and that's definitely because you see the Tristana in the top lane. That's the strongest member on the side of BK Rogue right there, so they could press towards the bot side of the map. That is a small victory on the map for the German team, and as we'll see again down in the bot lane, the second they see a Mumu on their sides, they turn away and start running. There are no ultimates onto these guys to try and play a little bit more aggressive. You see that Pride Stalker did not have any second thoughts about flashing in to put that ultimate down to lock down the Rakan. And all this just to try and push potentially another plate. Now, of course, Febby, really cool roam right here from him. Try and take one kill towards the bot side. Of course, it's going to be denied. The flash also burned by Febby there. Means that he's going to miss on that kill. He's missing on that mid lane farm as well that was pushed by Chocolate. And Chocolate's going to do his due diligence. He's going to gank for his top laner, as junglers don't usually do these days. Your mid laner might.
Alrighty, well, Febby shoved underneath this tower. Chocolate able to keep him where he wants. The dragon has already been taken here for SK Prime, so there's not really too much on the bottom side of the map for anybody to really be fighting for. Obviously, you got Herald spawning up in a minute, so I expect to see the attention fairly soon shift towards this top side and then use that to translate into more towers elsewhere. GenX and Howling taking a fight as Howling able to just about avoid getting pinned against the wall there from the ultimate from GenX, but it does look like they are going to be just going to returning back to the top lane. It is the top lane tradition. A bit of brawling, just testing each other out and then walking away. Not really going to be able to make that damage fully stick.
What a great hover from Trigger as well. He knew that he couldn't see many members on the map, so he cannot just sit in the mid lane. He hovered towards the top side of the map where they knew they had vision. They knew they had Pride Stalker towards there. As you can see, even right now when he's clearing out this these minions, he's hovering towards the top side of the map where the most safety lies for them. Cashed in on the call as well. 1.1k ahead for this Zeri, who becomes an absolute terror when it comes to the late game. And honestly, I think BK Rogue are in a pretty good spot right here to try and start contesting for more dragons. They're going to start setting up 2.5 minutes, of course, for the next one. Febby's going to be checking if anyone's coming for him with his W, but he's not going to spot them. He has actually spotted them from the wall that's currently where Pride Stalker is, so he's gonna back off. But this is more pressure. Wherever the Tristana is, you cannot be hanging around. Chocolate is so strong currently on this champion, very close to his second item very soon as well. Nice clear up right there for Febby to not allow the tower to go down.
Well, as we hit the 15-minute mark It is very much on BKR Rogue, who have control of this game. Every lane is up. It's a 2,000 gold lead almost over to Checkerlad. 4 static shifts in this game. So that item, even though it has been nerfed quite heavily, is still very, very strong. As SK Prime are trying to turn their attention towards getting this Rift Herald and seeing if they can use that to kind of crack this gold lead a little bit closer. But does look like BK Rogue are quite happy to contest this one. Trigger just going to land a little bit of a slow over the wall. That W teleport coming in. And it looks like it's going to be the fight for it. Going to jump forward. Prime actually jumps in. That's going to be the smite, though. They're going to jump in forwards. And over the wall, Trigger goes. Health bar very, very low on the side of Prime. He's able to just about limp away. And Gnar onto 4. But 2 members have already fallen. Febby in a serious amount of danger as Checkerlad is just running him down. And that's 4 kills total now, 2 of which in that previous fight. Over to BK Rogue. They got the Herald as well. That's in Checkerlad's pocket as Howling's going to get some free time on the top lane tower. Should just be able to take this now thanks to that Demolish. Yeah,
and honestly, that was the best case scenario for SK right there. They had the flank TP coming in from Febby. They had 2 different directions that they were attacking BK Rogue, but we said it from even the champ select that these champions on BK Rogue have so much agency that even if you get left 1v1 with a LeBlanc, you have so many ways to get out of it. Buster shot from from Tristana. You have the flash, you have the jump away. Trigger can just drop through walls with that Zeri, can just jump forward to get out of any harm's way as well, which is exactly what he did in the previous fight. I feel like individually they have pretty good champions when it comes to survivability against a 1-3-1 comp, especially with an assassin in it like a LeBlanc, especially the way that SK Prime is looking to play these fights a little bit chaotic with the Kai'Sa jumping in the backline, LeBlanc flanking from another way. You've got the Gnar as well, so big props to them to be able to recognize that and actually get out of that one with the Herald in the pocket and banning a few TPs and deaths for SK Prime.
Well, we're going to move over now towards this 3rd dragon of the game. 2nd for whoever can pick it up. Does look like BK Rogue are going to be uncontested, though. No real way for SK Prime to get in. The vision control has already been asserted by BK Rogue, and they've still got this Rift out in the pocket of Checkerlad. He's going to use it to get an empowered recall back, grab himself the Caulfield's Warhammer. The question is where is he going to use it? I would expect to see him use it in a side lane, get that big injection of cash. And remember, Tristana is an absolute tower buster. So a Tristana with a Rift Herald is a terrifying concept to be going up against. And, you know, he gets his hands on that. If he gets a tower and nobody's in position to stop him from pushing, that is going to be just a massive injection of cash over to that Trist. He's already 3,000 gold ahead of Febby on the LeBlanc, who's really struggling this game.
Yeah, you also have 300 gold bounty on your head, so you definitely don't want to be heading into territory that's completely dark, and that's exactly what's happening right now. You will see that Pride Stalker and Veinoram are trying to set down some vision because the Rift Herald is lying in Checkerlad's pocket right there. Pretty good trade. Again, it's going to take about 1/4 of Febby Vintage HP right there. Pretty much close to one... Okay, Trigger side is just going to jump over the wall. Prime is just... He's just testing the waters to see. Now the Rift Herald is going to go down. You see a lot of people in the mid lane. Checkerlad is just going to open up the Rift Herald and get yet another tower onto a side lane. They can actually use that for even more pressure. You see Crocodile is pushing bot. They can actually get a big bonk onto the inhibitor tower.
Yeah, there's not really going to be any contest until it's too late for the charge to come in. They will be able to stop that tower from going any lower, but in comes the Moo Cow, gets himself the knock-up. Febby's trying to get a bit of damage off, but he loses his passive. That's about it. Howling getting pretty heavily bullied on this other side of the map, though, but we'll just be able to one-shot that wave, and tower's going to remain standing. Does look like BK Rogue are quite happy to cool off any further aggression onto this tower, and are just going to head back elsewhere onto the map. Like I said, big injection of cash over to Checkerlad, and you can see the kind of gold distribution across the board. All of the people who want the gold have a gold lead right now. And Checkerlad, I mean, almost a total of 10k.
I mean, the closest person to him is 2.4 thousand gold down, and that's Genax on the Gnar. It is absolute insanity because it's so difficult to actually go onto a side lane versus a Tristana that has 2 items. The Warrior Quickblade's also locked in as well. But what BK ROG is doing here, they're playing very patiently. They're taking the objectives, which means they're reducing the vision that SK Prime have outside of their base. You require a tank. If you have no vision, you require a tank to actually face check your jungle. And right here, BK Rogue are just gonna brute force themselves in. They can even try to pretend they're doing the Baron and actually bait SK Prime into an unfavorable fight into their own jungle. They're gonna set up their vision, they're gonna take control of that mid lane wave, and they're gonna push towards that mid and bot tower. They're the only towers that SK Prime have left outside of their base. After that, it's gonna be chaos.
Oh, Pride Stalker may find himself in a little bit of danger. Blasco still stands, and they're just quite happy to start this up. I mean, they've got double AD carry, so this Baron melts to the side of BK Rogue. It's on Lorox, though, to find himself the steal. Can he pull this one up? 5,000 health left on that Baron. Top lane is a bit of a scrap breaking out, so nobody's been able to teleport in. Febby joining in to join up with his team, and BK Rogue very smartly deciding this fight is not going to be happening, but Howling is finding himself an advantage over Genax, forcing him away. The flash forward, the slice, the dice. One last tick from the ult's going to be able to secure the kill as the chains land from Febby onto Howling. Kedowi jumps in forwards. Howling is shut down by Kedowi, and it's back to Baron for BK Rogue.
Oh, it's back to Baron because now BK Rogue have the advantage right here. There is no ultimate on the Kai'Sa. There's no ultimate onto this LeBlanc. Can Lurk steal this? Can they turn this around?
Well, it looks like they're just going straight in for the fight. There's going to be the lockdown onto Free from the Amumu, and an easy tidy up. Nowhere to go. Double kill over to Checkerlad. Double kill over to Trigger. They're going to go take the Baron. They are going to take everything from SK Prime. That
has been such a clean game from the LFL second team representative right here. They're playing so slow, so calculated, by the book League of Legends. They have prioritized objectives over kills, and through depriving SK Prime of the objectives, they deprive them of a vision, which then follows up with them getting these kills. Very good stuff right here from the French org. And let's see this one more time. Venom, of course, knows that Febby doesn't have an ult. There is no ult onto the Kai'Sa as well. So if you engage on a Kai'Sa that's ultless and flashless, you will take them down. And that's exactly what happened right there. The rest of SK Prime could not get out as everyone piled on. And honestly, this was just the wall that's talking right there. There's way too many items into these BK Rogues members' inventories, and they just took them down.
Absolutely huge. And the big thing there as well was they didn't rush the Baron after taking that fight. They actually took their time, and Trigger went and cleared out some jungle camps so that Howling would have the Baron buff in the side lane. They let him get that full respawn off and
man.
Join up. Yeah, he does. I mean, the whole team are going to be way happier if they've got one other lane with a Baron buff in it pushing. So understandable, to be honest. But they do decide to wait a little bit longer and also just inject a little bit more gold onto Trigger as he takes those camps away. This tower will not be long for the world as Checkerlad able to finish that one up. Dragon number 3 as well in the pocket of BK Rogue.
Oh, no.
They're just now going to push up to the bot side of the map. And they are just removing any objective, any opportunity for SK Prime to be able to do anything about this.
So yeah, Genex just purchased the Hullbreaker. I don't think he's going to be spending much time alone.
Oh no, the whole team have broken out into a fight already. We've seen the end of Trigger. He's actually gotten down, jumping in with a charm. Absolutely huge knock-up though coming in. Now it's onto Checkerlad to try and chase forward. Lurox will fall down. Double kill over to Howling. And the last 3 members limping away from BK Rogue. Genax is doing his best to try and clear out the way, but the Hex Flash is coming in from Venogram. Not actually going to be able to do too much about that. Down goes the tower. The inhibitor will fall. Bot lane inhibitor tower also going very, very low here and will be quick to follow as the 3 members will just chip away. That is Checkerlad makes sure that tower goes down. And it looked like a desperation fight. It looked like a good opportunity. But if Febby falls here, that may just very well be game. Pop he goes as Checkerlad's able to finish him up with the satchel charge. They've got the waves to work with. They've got the Baron buff. They've got a little bit of time before Febby joins up. Checkerlad's just going to be able to finish that tower up as they do jump in. The knockback lands onto 2 and the tower will crumble. Pride Stalker's able to survive just a little bit longer, but Genax does go down here to Checkerlad. He's just farming kills. He's got the satchel on the tower. Kedowi's low. The flash forward from Checkerlad into the double kill, into the reset. BK Rogue are making it look easy. SK Prime had no business in this game. They had no opportunities. A colossal gold lead and an absolutely colossal win for the LFL team as they take down the Nexus.
Honestly, that was so clean from BK Rogue. If you ask me what went wrong for SK, I'm gonna say I think they just got outmatched right here. Every single lane was winning. I feel like Checolad onto the Tristana did not allow Febiven to play League of Legends this game, and that was a very pivotal part, right? You're picking the Wukong together with the LeBlanc to play for that 2 versus 2 pressure, to create opportunities onto the map, and Lurox unfortunately was not able to do so. I feel like his Wukong wasn't able to make these plays, he wasn't able to get these ganks going. 2v2 bot lane was not going well for SK Prime, and BK ROG, honestly, by the book, they played very slow, did not pull any triggers that they didn't have to. They played for the neutral objectives, and after that, they just invited SK Prime to walk into Fog of War, to walk into unfavorable fights, and they just took them through that.
It was a bit of an investment game coming in from BK ROG. They sat back and they just slowly built up their income until eventually they just out-itemized SK Prime. And I think, honestly, as much as I love to see Febby on LeBlanc, you know, he is one of the OGs. It's a rough matchup into Tristana, and Static Shift makes it slightly easier. Doesn't make it easy. Doesn't make it a one lane, and it's very, very rough. And honestly, every time he tried to trade, he just took so much damage, and he just got whittled down. And Checolad was an absolute animal this game.
Honestly, I think this was my favorite fight because you see Trigger actually dashing through the wall forward, knowing that the LeBlanc is behind him. And that's exactly what I meant when I said these champions have agency. It's not only we go backwards with the Zeri, you can actually move forward as well to get out of danger. That was the best case scenario fight that SK could ever get. And again, when a 1-3-1 composition falls behind, it kind of becomes very difficult to play the game because you are actually forced to fall into team fight habits when you do not have the better team fighting composition. And actually right here, that was also a 4 versus 5 that SK tried to, as a last chance, engage upon, and it just did not go their way because they were about 10, 11, 12,000 goal behind.
I mean, I'll give it to SK Prime. This fight the fights that we saw towards the end of the game didn't look like a gold lead that big. It was a gold lead that big, and that's why they lost it. But they did do a pretty solid job of actually finding some opportunities. But I mean, when you got level 16 Tristana doing that much damage with the satchel off in the distance, I mean, 23k to 10k. That was a bit of a mid gap. Top lane, they were just damage farming on each other. There was no real monstrous lead over there. It was just... honestly, jungle mid here was absolutely disgusting coming in from BK ROG.
And I feel like this game was very fast accelerated because if you look at Zeri and Kai'Sa, they didn't even have time to interact with the game. Like a Zeri doing only 9.4k damage in the game. Like she never scaled. She never got to be the monster that she wanted. But honestly, I want to hear a little bit more from the side of SK Prime as we have Lurox with us for an interview. I'd love to know what he has to say about, you know, picking the Wukong, the way that they had their minds behind that. Can we bring Lurox in, please? There he is.
Hello, Lurox. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah. I mean, I just lost the first game, but I'm doing good.
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to kind of go into that after you've lost the game, but, you know, you've got more games to go. So, you know, how is everyone feeling? You know, maybe you didn't want to lose this first game, but you still got way more games to go. So, you know, what's the consensus in the camp right now? You just kind of putting this behind you, figured out what went wrong, and now just looking in for the next game, or what? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I mean, mainly just looking for the next game and kind of like looking to forget about the last game. It was a bit, yeah, it wasn't the best game from us. We made it a bit hard for ourselves, and then yeah. But yeah, mainly just looking for the next 2 games because I think we will still be able to pick up 2 wins, and then yeah, focus on that now.
Lurox, you have so much experience when it comes to EMEA Masters. You also made semifinals in the previous one in spring, and honestly, the team looks even stronger. You know, you had Unicorns of Low beating you over in spring. Now you beat them 3-0 in this particular finals. What do you think are your chances as a team when you go into this EMEA Masters and you see, of course, the favorites like you, K-Corp, Wildcats coming in, but also like Portuguese orgs suddenly rising, Italian orgs rising out of nowhere?
I mean, our own like target for this EMEA Masters is obviously to win it, and I feel like we're good and we have good chances. Although like the first game didn't really look like that, but we'll make sure that it looks better for the next games. And yeah, other than that, I would say it's like the classic favorites with like K-Corp, Unicorns look strong, Wildcats, and then I'm a bit surprised with how many upsets there were so far. Like all the minor regions look fairly. I don't know if they're strong, but at least in the games they played, they look good and took them deservedly. So yeah, we definitely can't underestimate the opponents we face, even if they're like from minor regions.
And when it comes to
Yeah,
this
so-
game, sorry, Hybrid. When it comes to this game, you guys pretty much it felt to me like you put like all your weapons down and sort of like slowly bled out to the loss. Where would you sort of say that it went wrong for you guys? Was it draft? Was it gameplay?
I would say the draft. I mean, I guess it was a bit hard, but I wouldn't say it's like unplayable for us. I feel like we like still have our comfort picks with like Wukong, Rakan, like pretty much on all our rows we have comfort picks. I think we just we were a bit hesitant. Like I think me as well, because like the first game in EMEA Masters, and I feel like I should have like pulled the trigger a few times where I like was a bit hesitant. Although I do think it's rather difficult into the comp they have. So yeah, we'll have to like look at that, but mainly just focus on the next games and not think too much about the first game because it's done now. We lost it, so unlucky.
So speaking of the next games, I'm curious of your thoughts on this group because we just saw Desire win a pretty convincing win there. That wasn't like a close game. They look really, really solid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we kind of look at the teams, maybe we had various different power rankings. I'm curious for where you think like the likes of Desire fall. Do you think that was a fluke, or do you think they actually are a serious team that you need to pay respect to?
I mean, for sure we have to respect them because with how League is right now, like if you throw the draft or if you throw the game, like any team can just beat you. I did like watch the game, and I do think they're definitely better than Aliobank, I would say. I'm not sure like how much it means that Desire is good or like that Aliobank is just like worse. So we'll have to see when we play them how they are. But I'm still confident that we will beat them and that we will perform better than the first game.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for talking to us. Good luck in your next games throughout the rest of the day. And hopefully we'll see you in a winners interview next time. All right. See you later.
Yeah, hope so. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And for you guys, we still have more games to go. There's so many more games to go. And if you want to actually join us, you can head over to the EM watch party over on discord.lec.gg. That was a mouthful. So you can watch along with all the other fans. But we're going to be back for game number 3. That's going to be BK Rogue taking on Aliobank. So we'll be back for that game in a second.